everyone. Are we live? Please type llama. I'm so sorry for the tech difficulties. You know, technology gets complicated sometimes. It's like when you want to use your printer and it dies on you. If you have ever had printer difficulties when you need it the most, please type llama on the chat and let us know if you can hear us and if you can see us, and that would be amazing. So let's see some llamas on that chat. Oh, I see some llamas. Yay! Yay! Thank you so much, everyone, for your patience. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I know that you are very excited for Justin's demo. I am very excited for Justin's demo. So I'm glad that we managed to get this thing running and we are live right now. So yay! I'm so happy. All right, so welcome to a new live demo. I'm your host, Maria. And we are super excited to bring you today this live demo with Justin Pastores. I'm super excited to introduce him to you all.
How's it going, everyone?
And we are going to get started. So basically, we are going to run for an hour. So we'll be extending a little bit past 8:15 p.m. EST time. So we can give you the full hour of content. Justin has graciously agreed to stay on for a little bit longer. So thank you, Justin. And if you have any questions for Justin, please type the word question all in caps in the chat. So that way I can scan it and ask it to him when it is relevant to what he's doing at the moment. And then if it's not relevant, I will save it for another time or for the Q&A portion at the end if we finish before then. Then what else? Oh yeah. Justin, would you like to give us a tour of your sketchbook so we can see what we can expect from today?
Let's see. Sure. You want to, which one? Which part should I do it on?
Let's see.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I brought several sketchbooks. I usually work on multiple ones for different things. You know, this one is just like, let me see here what we got. I mean, we're going to do some figures today. So I got a couple of figure paintings on here. This is the Etchr hot press watercolor sketchbook. You know, I do a lot of different things in here, more figures, a lot of just drawing, really practicing a little bit of drawing, some washes. But what we're going to do is pretty much do a figure with a little bit of a loose background here. So something similar to something like this. And drawings over here. So I have this kind of set up like this here where I have some simple shapes broken down here, how to see it in a figure. Usually when there's too much detail, it's kind of hard to eliminate all that. And what you want to do is always have some like good structure, whatever it is that you're drawing, right? Whether it's like water bottle or people, try to break it down to more of its simple form, simple shape. So, you know, circles for the top portion of the head, little cone-like shapes for the jaw, other geometric shapes for other parts of the body. I also have a little value sketch that I've done, a really basic one, just notifying myself about what's in the shadow and what's in the light. And then I'm gonna kind of actually do the painting on this side here. So I'm gonna actually try to finish up the drawing part, add the clothing, on top of the structure, and we can get started on that.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it. If you all remember that if you want to ask a question, type it on the chat. And also a reminder to fill out our survey so we can make sure to bring you the best content all the time. So if you have a great idea for artists or for anybody else you want on board, you want to give us your feedback, make sure to fill out our survey. And here is the link on the chat.
Right. Shall I continue on here?
Yeah, we can get to your easel now.
Yeah. I'll switch that over.
Awesome.
All good?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna go on and start putting on the clothing for this. You know, with the structures, when you put on the clothing and things, it adds like another little layer on top. So you want to leave a little bit of a gap between the actual like top of the head and then the hat and things like that. Hopefully you all have the reference with you. So I actually printed mine out so that I can see it clearly. So, you know, I'm working with several different things here. I have the structured drawing, the value sketch, and the actual photographic reference here. So it just helps with the overall experience, I think. But I do try to tell myself that these are all, very, let's see, different mediums, right? Photograph, drawing, and it really relieves the pressure when you say to yourself that trying not to like copy the exact same thing that you're, originally working from.
Yeah.
Gives you, again, just a little bit more freedom to create and allow yourself to make the mistakes that, or I shouldn't say mistakes, but just variations of what it was intended from the photo, because they're just all different.
Is there a reason why you're holding your pencil that way?
Let's see. It's comfortable for me. It allows me to just get the side and just if I hold it like this, it's just like it feels too tight for me, and I like to work a little bit looser. So this is just another way to kind of help me get comfortable with drawing. Also, if I'm trying to capture angles, it allows me just to switch it, certainly this way instead of having to. I don't know. This just feels like just more awkward for me. So
Yeah.
holding it like this really loosely with just like a pinching type of formation just allows me to do more things with sketching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here I'm just crossing over, paying attention to the reference and also how things look on the structure as well. Again, this is on the hot press Etchr Sketchbook. I usually like working more with cold press paper, but I like having the variety of doing different things on hot press, like using pencil. Sometimes I like a smooth surface, which when I'm using pen or pencil, I don't really like it as much. So it becomes like a preference sort of thing. So I think this is enough things to do. Again, I don't want to overdo what I'm seeing from the reference. I am going to draw out some of the shadow shapes. And again, I'm not getting the exact shape of it, just the location of where those things are. So
does it matter that you're using pencil and that you'll go over it with watercolor? Won't it muddy the colors?
It wouldn't really lighten the color. If you're using like a 6B pencil or something with like that's really loose, it can get a little bit muddy, but not so much. Let's see. Yeah, so I don't really mind that. It also kind of becomes part of the whole artwork as well, having the pencil in there. So it's a preference. I say that if you are going to use like really loose pencils, really dark pencils, 8B or whatever, then you're going to have some issues of some of the graphite kind of mixing in with the watercolors, but usually it doesn't get too bad.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, so right here for the background, I really I'm really focusing on just the shape and the roundness part here for that bush over here, some more jagged edges for that tree in the background. Not really paying attention too much with getting things accurately. Although you can if you'd like to, but for me, that's just the way I like to work for these things.
Yeah.
All right, so
So this is a normal pencil, right?
Yeah, this
normal
is
graphite, not water soluble.
No. Yeah, I think this is like a 2B pencil, your standard number 2 yellow pencil.
Yeah.
It's always nice to keep it sharp too as you're drawing. I mean, if it's dull, then you'll also start to release more of the graphite. So it's nice to have a sharp edge and pencils. All right, so I got some paints here. I'm ready to paint. Since that was just a little touch up on the figure, I'm going to paint the background first, and I'm going to allow the colors to mix on the paper as I'm painting. So I'm not going to mix up too much on my palette. I'm just going to have it again, mix with each other and have it have them be more friendly with each other back there. I am just thinking more about light and darks, things like that, warm and cools back there. So like areas in the light, are more of a warmer green, and then the areas in the dark are more of a cooler green. So I'll be mixing up some colors like that and using specific colors. Wrote a little list of colors for anyone to use. Really, you could just use like the 3 primaries, but if you have a specific colors you have to use, I'm mainly going to use Cali, pretty much all of these, but I don't have any ultramarine, so I'm gonna use my phthalo blue. So there's always a little substitutes and little things here. I do have this permanent green pale that I like using. It's just like a convenient color to use, like just to get like I don't have to mix as much, so you can use purple and things like that. Sometimes, like when you're using just the primaries, it just takes up all of the paint, and like, oh, I ran out of this color, I have to go back and buy. So anyway, I also have my sketchbook or my board at like a 45-degree angle, so the the paint will have like this kind of vertical motion going down. So we'll see how that all looks back there.
Have you, do you know like how much water these sketchbooks take? There was a question on the chat.
How much water the sketchbook takes?
Mm-hmm. If you work like really, really wet, have you tried that yourself?
I don't really work that wet for myself. I know that it's that it does take up a lot of, it can take up a lot of layers, and you just gotta let it dry in between if you wanna, if you wanna keep working on it. It's not, and it lays flat. You can close up the book. You can hold. I usually just have little clips on here for the side, but you can tape it down if you want to. Paper is pretty strong. It lasts. It can take some heavy washes. All right, so I'm mixing up. I have some green on my palette. I have some of that yellow on my palette.
Can we see it?
Sure. So kind of a preference. So I have it kind of watery, but not super watery. I'm actually going to probably put a little bit more paint in there. But I try not to have it be like a large puddle where it's going to look pale or thin. So I still want to have some color back there. So I think I think that's always the hard part of knowing how much, the ratio of water and paint you should have on your brush. Contemporary painter, Joseph Sabukovich, very well known with his watercolor and his methods of the watercolor ratio. You have the tea mixture, which gives you light values, your coffee, milk, and butter textures. So those are like the types of like what do you call it? Consistencies you would match up your ratio, and the more pigment you have, the more darker it's going to look. Mm-hmm. But I want to keep this back part. I want to put more color, so my mixtures are going to be a little more on the richer side. So yellow, I'm using a little bit of yellow for just like the areas that are in the light. And then again, when I start introducing the shadow parts, I'm just going to paint directly next to it. And it's going to have more of a softer edge. So I'm not pre-wetting my paper. I'm painting directly on top of it or next to each other. And kind of just going off with what I kind of see in the reference, but not really paying attention too much with the accuracy. So I just want to get a good thing going on here. Wherever there's light, there's got to be something dark next to it. I'm going to introduce a little bit of red to my green mixture just so I can mute it down a little bit so it's not fully saturated. Something like this. So painting directly next to it and letting the edges kind of merge together a little bit more. Mm. I actually want to kick this up a notch. I start to like painting more with heavier consistencies nowadays. So there's like some, gets really dark close to the figure. I'm not going to paint my figure. I want to leave that figure alone first. Mm-hmm. Just
like a paper cut?
Yeah. I want to have like a sharp edge for this figure. So I can focus, so there's not too much like bleeding with the background and the figure. So I want to make sure a paper cut, I like that, it's cool. I want to make sure that it doesn't get touched there. So I feel like I can get a little bit darker on some of these areas. Good thing it's still wet, and that'll allow me to, put the colors down in there. So some areas I'll use shortcuts like mixing purple with the yellow to try to neutralize it a little bit more. So it's a good thing to have some of those secondary colors ready, convenient colors like what I was talking about.
So to neutralize a color, you're using the direct opposite on the color wheel.
Correct, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, red and green, yellow, purple.
Mm-hmm. Blue and orange.
Yeah, blue and orange, yeah, those are all great. But you do have to be careful with mixing them, and so you want to know which you want to lean towards. Like if you want it to be more blue, put more blue in it. Want to be more, brown, put more of the warmer color in there. That part always gets a little tricky with mixing colors.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I saw a different brush there.
Yeah, you did. I used a fan brush or any type of wide brush, any type of flat brush.
Mm-hmm.
I've been liking the effects that fan brushes give lately. I think there's an artist named Tommy Kim who uses fan brushes for his paintings. They look really cool. He paints with gouache though, but I do like that there's some variety in the paint marks that it comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so round and a flat is usually what I like to work with. So over here it got a little it dried up. So there's some areas there that the paint is not going to fully mix with each other, and so I'm a little sad that happened. You got to work fast with these things, and try not to forget about each area as they're drying, because they're going to go at different drying times, and you want to make sure you catch them before they dry out and give you such a hard edge.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do. I want to keep the background to be pretty loose and allow it to have soft edges back there. So in this area, I got to kind of remind myself to also paint this section as I'm painting. That could be just because of the hot press paper too, probably just, or maybe because I'm talking too much and not paying attention to what I'm painting. All right, here we go. I'm going to mix up like this purple like color for this background, this back wall here. Again, I'm just going to let it do its own thing. I'm going to use a bigger, I'm going to use that fan brush because it takes up more area, and using that that round earlier it just doesn't go very far. So I got to go in, cut corners here.
Too precise.
Yeah, too precise. It's good to be a little unprecise. Like trying to figure out a word for it, I just can't. I can't think about it. All right, there's some areas here from the tree that I forgot, so I'm just going to sneak them in the areas where I just painted, and let that paint do its own thing. Hey green, hey purple, I'm green, let's be friends, something like that. All right. All right, so moving down the other side, can't forget about areas here. All right, start working on this part here. Area in the light, got to keep that part light. And then it's gonna have a little shadow on the bottom somewhere. So I'm going to mix up a little bit of blue with that. Maybe even introduce a little bit of some green, neutralize it again, red and green. But too much green, looks like throw up. Then I gotta go back, bring it back. That's the thing about paints. When you're painting, you gotta be really familiar with the paints that you're using. And making sure that, because each paint has their own chemical thing mixed with it, so you have to really be familiar with how strong certain things are as you're mixing. Like the phthalo blue I was using, it was just like too strong, so I have to use a little bit of it.
Right.
Yeah, here we go.
Was
So
that why you had those color studies on your sketchbook? Because I remember seeing those.
yeah, it's just a nice reminder about how certain colors use looks. Um, yeah. Sometimes when I run out of paint, it allows me to use like a variant of it. So like that ultramarine blue, I had it written down on there. I usually have my palette, ran out, and I was like, oh, what other blues do I have? So just end up using the Halo. All right, so going back down here to the grass part, there is a pattern going on. There's the area where it's warm, where the light is there. All right, and then there's this kind of sidewalk part. It's kind of in the light, kind of on the brown side.
You're just placing that right next to the other one, right?
Yeah. Directly painting right next to it and let the colors, take care of each other.
Mm.
And then I'll go down and do the cement part. I got to remind myself to use different brushes. I always have that tendency just to stick to one brush as I'm painting. There we go.
And are you cleaning your brush when you're grabbing new colors?
Yeah. Especially if it's like a color that I don't want to be there. Like I wasn't cleaning it so much when I was doing all this, but I was cleaning it more when I went down here when I want it to be more solid. Yeah, so I give it like a quick rinse, little tap on some paper towel just to release some of that. All right, there's an area I forgot up here in the corner. It's kind of like this warm color, so I'm just gonna cover that like that. All right, so background is considered done. There's some, fun shapes going on. Just really lets the audience know that, okay, that's supposed to be like a tree back there, I think, and just colors and shapes. I'm not really worried about the accuracy of those things. I want to save that for the figure.
And also that will help drag interest, right?
Yeah. So try to have that more like soft edges, even like flat shapes for the background, and then you can be a little bit more intricate with the main focus, which for this one will be the figure. All right, so I think a scary thing as well is like how to know when when it's okay to paint, right? Of course, you can touch it by using like the back of your finger, so you don't have any like fingerprints on there. If it's cold to the touch, it's still wet. But it is a little safe to say that this area is more dry than the recent part I've painted, which is the bottom. So I can start again back at the top. You can even start kind of playing with the design a little bit, like changing color schemes and things like that, and being, have more creative freedom with those things. But I'm going to keep a lot of it kind of similar to the reference. I think the only thing I'm going to change is the color of the hat. And the original, right, is like this kind of grayish color. I'm going to just make the local color, we call it, the original color of the object. I'm going to change it to being white because I really want to have that contrast with the paint back there. So I'll leave that hat white for now and then start focusing on the skin.
All right.
Mixing up some yellow ochre and some of that rose color. Again, be really careful with how much color you introduce with each other with this one. Put too much red, it's gonna look like a sunburn. Too much yellow, they have jaundice. So this little area in between. It's also good to, we're pretty much creating a brown. So to neutralize that again, you add a little bit of blue to, tone it down. But you don't want to put too much blue or else you're gonna get a whole different color. So little batches at a time. You can test to see, okay.
So let's recap. What color is the skin again?
What colors am I using for the skin? I use yellow ochre and a perm rose, and I just put in a little bit of my blue, bit of my blue in there. Yeah. So otherwise, it's going to be like super saturated, and it'll be kind of crazy looking. So I'm also going to keep the mask white. So white, this person has gray hair, so I'll keep that part white and the hat white for now.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I'll move to the other part of the skin, the arm.
So this is a picture you took, right?
Yeah. It's always important to take your own photos. It's always hard to find photos on Google or something. So it's better to take photos of other of things that you like and the angles that you like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that part done. I'm
Bam.
gonna go back and start painting the clothes now.
But we gotta let it dry a little, or not?
Yeah, I think at this time you can like start like analyzing what you're doing. Maybe clean your palette so you have a more, clean surface to work with. You could use a hair dryer to speed up the drying process. The next thing I'm gonna paint is the shirt. I think by the time I'm done, like kind of cleaning up my palette, you can use this time to change your water too, if you like to have more of a cleaner water to work with.
Yeah. Do you only use one water container or multiple?
I use one. I'm pretty lazy. I have one water container. I know a lot of people have multiple. That's just, I don't want to carry more stuff. I want to leave it alone. Sometimes the mud color is good to have too. It doesn't affect your painting too much. I think as long as your palette is clean, then the dirty water won't affect it as much. But yeah, so I do plein air painting too. So again, I just try to travel as light as possible and trying not to bring too many things.
So if you're all enjoying Justin's presentation and you're enjoying hearing him explain his process so fully, please go ahead and enroll in Justin's workshop. Justin's workshop, mini workshop, it's actually $5.50. I'm going to drop the link on the chat so you can enroll. We have been selling out, so if you want to enroll in Justin's mini workshop, I would recommend jumping on that as soon as possible. It is on March 19th, and you will be learning the structure of a human figure and how to incorporate people in your art with watercolors. So a more in-depth session. And it will be, like I said, March 19th at 10 a.m. PST.
Cool, thank you. So yeah, I started doing on the shirt. I'm using that phthalo blue I mentioned earlier. Making sure that when I'm painting along against like this kind of bead-like puddle here, just so that the paint can travel somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Thing with the watercolors, as many of you probably already know, is that you want to make sure that the paint travels together like a family.
I like that explanation.
Yeah, a little family. You'll get into situations like this where what am I going to do with this puddle? So I forgot about this part here. All right, so what you want to do is make sure that you clean your brush so that the brush can drink up all that tasty paint water.
Ooh.
And then you'll have that area will be more dry, and you get to work on that later. And you won't have like these little puddles unless you want them there. Fine if you want them there. Let's see here. Yeah, so I got that part. Oh, yeah, do the pants. I'm just gonna get whatever dark I can mix up here, create some dark colors here from whatever left over on my palette, and just get that in there. All right, so, oh man, there was another thing I was thinking about. No, I can't remember. I think it's almost time to do the other layer. Shadow layer. So all this was more like local color. So like the original color of the object that's not influenced by shadows. Or
So if it's an apple, the red of the apple.
sure, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So all that's again to start painting in the shadow color. So and there's a lot of ways to get the shadow colors. You can go with doing like a glaze of blue over some areas, or you can just mix up a darker color of the local color. So um, I'm going to mix up the same local color for the skin and just put more paint in there. So same thing, some yellow ochre, some perm rose, and making sure I have a stronger consistency with that.
So we're
Not
going for butter.
no, that's too strong. Like what is it? What does he say? Either milk or cream.
Cream.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that. Um, Again, try to do it in small batches so you don't make a big mess. You have to know a little bit of the consistency you like. You can even test it out on somewhere else that you don't mind getting paint on, and get to adjust from there.
Oh, we got someone signed up for your mini workshop.
Oh man, so cool! Thank you.
Yay!
What I'm doing does matter. All right, here we go. I think this part's pretty dry, and so I get to paint on there, focusing on the shadows. Let's see over here. There's a part of the glasses here, and then underneath the neck.
Oh yeah. Wow. That face mask just popped out.
Yeah. I'll glaze it down a little bit. And oh, you know what? I forgot about the glasses. I'm just going to do a light coat of this color here. So it looks like it's like reflecting from the skin as it's looking down. Add a little bit of color in there. All right.
And we got another sign up. Yay!
Oh, cool. Very exciting. I think I'm going to move on down to the shirt now. Heavier mixture of the same local color.
Yep.
And let's do this. Boink. If this mixes into that, good. Painting should be exciting. But not too exciting because well, that's what's really cool about painting, right? Or just like watercolor when the colors mix with each other. But it can get a little dangerous at times. And, they always talk about how watercolor should be like a partnership, mutual thing between the medium and the artist, rather than the artist try to dominate the medium.
Yeah.
Or you know what it is? It's like the watercolor is it's just a diva medium. It needs like the best everything. It's like it's really bratty, right? I think maybe that's what it is.
Best paper, best brushes. That's why we're using Etchrs. Yay!
Yeah, really just needs all the best stuff. All right, little parts here.
Justin is using one of her brushes, by the way, and I'll drop a link for that on the chat.
This is the number 12. I like using, it's a nice size to work with.
Do you know they're vegan friendly?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a part here where it's a little bit lighter. It's kind of like a half tone. So I'm just going to introduce a little bit of water so it's not overpower that part. All right, and I'm gonna switch it up again. Do the skin, since I think the skin is dry now. Luckily, I still have that mixture on my palette.
Yep.
Here, again, just focusing on shapes, not really caring too much about accuracy. You'll just beat yourself over the head, especially when you're doing watercolor. And it's a lot more fun painting this way. Just speed with some accuracy in there. This part's all in shadow. Just get that in there.
So how do you distinguish what's important for it to read and what is like noodling?
If the shapes are clear, the values are clear, then you're good.
Okay.
I think if you noodle too much, like on, I mean, not to say that noodling is not bad. I mean, I think if you're like trying to, I have to get back to you on that. Because with my students, so I teach I teach kids, and they're definitely at that age where they want to focus a lot of the detail on something, but they're missing the whole picture. Like the value structure is not fully there because they're just focusing on like texture of this tree, and they have to get it right.
Yeah.
But that stuff doesn't matter as much if the whole thing is not painted. So I think having value structure is important. Your color harmony is important. Those things. I think the bigger picture of painting. All right, almost done. Let's do the hat. So local color of the hat is white. Change it to white. If you ever look out in the shadows for white objects, of course they take on different colors. But if you want to kind of break it down, it's just standard color that you would see. It's kind of like a purplish blue, right? So I make a purplish blue color. Cuts through here. Let's see, we'll put a little bit here for that person's right here. Let's see, I'll do part of the mask now too. That's all in shadow there. And I'll just go up to that part. Glasses, I gotta paint in a little bit later. Since I just painted this, I don't want this to interrupt too much. So I'll wait for that area to dry a little bit more. Do that phone, grayish phone. Boom, boom, boom. Cut out some of this part just so you can see the shapes clear. Puddle there, gotta take that out in case it runs away. Get some blue in there. Sharp edge for the sharp point for this brush here. Really important to get those crisp edges on certain things.
And how do you get that sharp point on a brush?
How do you get that? Don't mess it up. brand new brush gives you sharp. No, you could always like try to pinch it out too if you like, but certain quality of brushes cannot get that spring to it. So synthetic brushes are really nice for those things.
Yeah.
Natural brushes, it's a little bit harder because they tend to be like more floppy, and you can still get a sharp edge, but it's not going to have the same retention as this. So
yeah, because if this one's a 12 and you're getting that super sharp line.
Yeah. All right, so little things like that. I can do more layers on top of this, but I'm probably gonna keep it how it is. So this is when it starts to become noodling, when I find little things. Oh, maybe there's a wrinkle in here I want to put in, or there's all these other things I can continue on. But sometimes things are just left like the way it is. So
well, you can noodle if you want. We got 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Let's do this. Let's noodle. I love noodle.
I mean, if you want.
Love to. little blemishes happening here. That's all right. It's part of the whole watercolor idea here.
Yeah.
So you say noodle. Let's noodle. I'm going to probably make this. I know I like to have this the way it is, like how it's naturally, but I do want to push more contrast back there. So I think I might noodle just a bit.
Let's call it detailing.
I like noodles.
And when you're looking, because you're painting, you're constantly looking at the reference, or do you just occasionally look at it?
Occasionally. I keep looking at it, then I'm going to forget about the painting. The painting is going to be jealous of me. I don't want that. Yeah, same thing, like I think the whole point of doing like the value studies and the structure study is to get more comfortable with the subject, especially if you're doing it for the first time. So yeah, that's why I like to do a little bit of practicing beforehand just to be more familiar with it. Although, it's also good to, as a reminder that it's not going to look the same as all the other ones. And all of them, which is good. I mean, like there are definitely techniques to do direct copies of all of your artwork, anything you want, but it's also good to like allow all the artworks to have their own life, right? The drawing has its own life, the structure, the photograph that I took, the painting, they're all just versions of each other and not the exact same thing. So try to think of it like that. Because I know that there are some people who get frustrated sometimes when they can't get it exactly like whatever it is that they're doing. Or they are worried about, I got to start over or do it over again, and I can't make it the exact same thing. And I think if you, again, just try to, if you thinking about that too much, the experience won't be as freeing when you're trying to do it again. Yeah,
that's a good philosophy. I mean, if you want an exact reproduction, that's why there's photography, and that's why there's like prints.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, still a cool skill to have. I just think like the mindset for it can be stressful.
Yeah.
You shouldn't, art making should take away the stress, not add to it,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We already have enough stress in our lives. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we should all be used to it by now, but.
Oh, I can see how that contrast really helped.
Yeah, I think, but the sacrifice is that I'm losing all this nice, like natural color mixtures back there, which I really liked in the beginning. But sometimes you got to do things to help strengthen the painting. And then, like what I said earlier, you can do it again. You do it again, and it will be different. But yeah, I think that kind of helped out a little bit there.
We have a question in the chat about how many layers do you usually do for these paintings?
Oh, for these, this is like 3 or something like that. So like the whole, like doing the background with the figure, local color, that was 1 layer. And then we're doing the shadows, at least for this person, shadows, that's number 2. And then 3 is to doing like the small accents, the darks.
Yeah.
So like what I was doing up here, or putting any other darks that you missed out on that you couldn't really do in the beginning. You can do as many layers as you want, but it's nice to kind of limit yourself. I have kids, so I can't really spend all the time painting.
Economize.
Yeah. Brush economy, painting, economy, all that is very important. So, and then again, you can just paint it again. It's very fun to just say, how much I can do within the time I have, and how many layers can I do this in. 3 is pretty reasonable to do.
Yeah.
Things. Yeah. Doodling again. I think I don't want to do anything else.
All right. All right. Let's not. We can go directly to questions if anybody has more specific questions for Q&A for Justin.
Let's do it.
I actually had a question about what you did to prepare for this painting, because I know you showed us a little bit of the figure and you were talking about values. So I'm wondering, for people who are not used to seeing in value, if you had any tips for that.
Yeah. Again, like I think I showed this in the beginning, just like a really rough value study here. You could just break it into 3 values. This will help out with the layers that you're going to be using it. So, of course, you can go on and do like a 6 value study. But I think for what I was doing here, I just wanted to keep it very simple. And white for the very light areas, this mid for the shadows, and then a darker one for those smaller, like darker parts.
Yeah.
I'll keep it within 3. That's like the most reasonable thing you can try to achieve. You can always go and do like a full 9-step or 11-step value scale, but these are all good to use just 3 layers, 3 values.
And we have another question on the chat that if you see in your painting on the man's shirt, there is a bloom of the blue right at the bottom that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And they're wondering if you leave the blooms in because they drive them crazy, but then they mess up the painting trying to brush them over.
How do you fix that? You try again in the next painting and figure out how to clean it. Yeah, because if you sometimes you just gotta accept those things. If it does drive you crazy, what usually happens is like the different drying times of the water and paint happening. And so usually what happens here is that when you paint something and while it is drying, maybe you have like a splash of water that just went on there, or maybe there's inconsistencies of the paint and water mixture. So that's how the blooms kind of come out here. So this one, there's one happening here. And so another reason why that's happening is also like if you painted flat without it being a tilt, there's more chances of the blooms happening because the water is stagnant and it's just going to kind of go wherever it's going while it's drying. So that's why I was trying to take out some of those puddles in the beginning. I didn't get all of them, but that's how you would try to decrease your chances of these blooms happening. It's trying to catch them right at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah. But you don't mind them?
No. It used to drive me a little crazy, but I got a little more accepting of it. And then also just seeing other people's artworks as well is just like, oh, they actually use that bloom there as an effect, or it actually works well with the drawing. So, I think I got used to just leaving them there if it happens. So I try not to be too attached to my artwork. That would drive you crazy, I think, being too attached to it. Let's see, I was going to say something about the blooms. Yeah. I try to treat everything like as a high quality sketch. So that way I don't have too high expectations for what my artwork should look like. And again, just do your best with trying to relieve all the pressure of art making, and then your artwork is going to just get better and better each time. You get more confident each time and you let go of certain things. So yeah, I think it's a different mindset going in. Yeah,
that's important. I'm going to bring you back up so people can see your face.
Sure.
All right, we're back up.
That was a quick painting.
No, but it was fantastic. I mean, I really enjoyed seeing it come to life and see how you were using those live brushstrokes to your favor. So that was really interesting to see, because I have seen a lot of really tight paintings. So it's nice to see the more looser style thing, and the philosophy you've been sharing, and all those great tips about moving the paint like a family, and the consistencies of like coffee, milk, butter. That I'm gonna take that away from this demo for sure.
Look up Joseph's book. I mean, that's directly from that artist. Very influential. I mean, that whole water paint consistency is started from what I know. Kind of started from him, and so a lot of people, yeah, familiar with that. I can't take credit for that, but I really use it. Legacy lives through there. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's working, right? We have a question in the chat about if you rely on the unerased pencil marks to add visual information, or if they're just part of the informal quick sketch style that you're trying to achieve.
It could be both. It can just be, you can add on to it. I'm weird about with artwork. If I want it to just be a painting, sometimes I don't even use the pencil. I'll just paint directly on. And sometimes I like to have the pencil marks there, and kind of lets me know about the whole process. And sometimes I can make stuff out of it if it's still showing. Like there was a part of the wrist of that figure that I just painted where I can still see part of the structure. I can make that into a watch. I can make it into a bracelet or something. But yeah, I try to let it also just become part of the whole procedure of the artwork. Yeah. So
cool.
It's a little bit both, you know. Whatever your intent was, you know, I think that's always a thing. And then if your intent goes sideways, you you know, try to problem solve with whatever things you can do to adjust it. And if that doesn't work, try again.
Roll with it, and if you can't, then do a new one.
Yeah. Can I share another thing?
Yes, of course.
So Etchr sent me this really cool accordion book. It's a watercolor book. I didn't get to paint too much in there. I think it's one of their newer products. And so I just want to share really cool, you know, if you're not familiar with accordion books, they fold out. You can treat these as like one whole piece or separate panels and things like that. And it's what's fun that you can, with all sketchbooks, right? It's there for you to create and take notes and try things again and see if they don't work. Sometimes they can, you know, become their own thing and actually become its own like art piece, which is really cool. But yeah, I just wanted to share this really cool book with you. Whenever this comes out, really check it out. Got some little bit of paint there, but a lot of mixed media things here. Do a lot of practice of figures and portraits, just so it gets a little bit easier every time you approach it. Like what I mentioned earlier, I just have multiple sketchbooks of different things and trying out in different ways. So try to also encourage people to keep drawing in sketchbooks. And they don't have to be perfect things in there, although you can if you want to. But again, it will just drive you nuts if you try to make every page like a beautiful thing. Yeah,
that's very true. We also have one question about if the mini workshop includes the sketching part of it, like the sketching of the figure and how you build it up.
Oh, if it does include, yeah. I want to go more in depth with that. So yeah, I think that we'll talk more about structure and the shapes more, because I think I just briefly showed it, and then so I want to dive more into doing that.
Yeah. That'll be fun. See, you got to sign up for Justin's mini workshop. I'll drop that link again on the chat. Make sure you already saw a lot of people signing up for it. So I'm sure that this one's going to sell out. So there you go. All right, we have one last question, and it is talking about what is your approach regarding background. So Efrain says that a busy dark background can often distract the viewer and compete with the focal point. In this case, the background works. What is your approach for this?
I think so. Busy dark background. So I think probably the edge controlling your edges. If you want your background to be a little bit more fuzzy back there, have more soft edges back there. So dark. Oh, my light came out here. Then you would have to think about contrast. So like your person or whatever your focal point needs to be more in the light.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about the composition, how you gonna bring out your focal point. Dark against light, warm against cool.
Edges.
Busy versus clean. Things like that. Yeah. Did you say bridges?
Edges, soft versus sharp.
Okay. Yeah. So color, I think I mentioned that already, like warm against cool, that's temperature. Yeah, there's several different ways, but it's always important if you want your focal point to shine is to think about placement, think about the how it reacts to whatever light source is on there.
Yeah.
And a little everything about the whole design principles.
Awesome. Great. We have one last person asking if you can please tell them what the topic of the mini workshop is going to be.
I think just like extended version of what we just covered. I really want to get more into the drawing of the figure and guide everyone through that. Talk more about the value studies and then do a final painting of that. So pretty much like that whole 3-step process. Yeah.
Also, if you go inside the mini workshop link that I posted, you'll be able to browse through a few of Justin's paintings of stuff that will be related to that workshop. So click there and you will be able to browse a few of the related ones that he will be showing and guiding you through that human figure. So please go ahead and click on that link. But well, we are nearing time. So I wanted to thank everyone for coming over today. I wanted to thank you all for your patience with the tech issues and your understanding and sticking by and waiting for us to come on. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure that Justin is also really appreciative of your patience.
Thank you everyone for,
Thank you so much. And also if you're part of an organization and you want a private workshop, you can contact us at Etchr Lab and we will get back to you with more info. So that's hello@etchrlab.com. Then also if you want to tag us on Facebook and Instagram, posting the art you've made during the demos and the mini workshops, or even pictures you take during these sessions while watching them, that would be super cool. And please go ahead and enroll on Justin's mini workshop. It's going to be amazing. So you got to enroll in that and fill in our live demo survey. And I don't know, Justin, if you want to add some final words before we head out for the night.
Not so much. Keep painting, keep drawing. Hope to see you at the workshop.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the live demo and the philosophy approach to art. We really learned a lot, and we hope to see you all again for another Etchr live demo. We have another one tomorrow with Manel Oliphant, and we're going to be learning how to paint mermaids in watercolor. I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
We're out.